I had thought that the day before my brother's wedding would be filled with joy, family bonding, and warm jokes around the dinner table. But no, just one careless remark from my aunt, the night before the wedding, brought it all crashing down. A seemingly ordinary moment, a small slip of the tongue, brought up a family secret that had been hidden for decades. I never imagined that one careless remark could completely change the way I looked at my loved ones, at the very family that raised me. That night, when everyone gathered to prepare for the ceremony the next day, I just happened to mention a childhood memory with my brother. A seemingly innocent memory unrelated to the wedding. But at that moment my aunt's eyes suddenly changed. She paused, looked at me, and whispered something that struck me as if it were thunder. "You shouldn't mention it. If your mother knew you still remembered, everything would be messed up." Everything around me froze. The laughter, the music, the conversation. Everything faded away, leaving only a feeling of silence and suffocation. What was she talking about? What was messy about? And why did a childhood story make her react as if she were holding a sin? From that moment on, I began to notice every look, every glance exchanged between my family members. What I had thought was random now seemed deliberately concealed. Something had been hidden for too long, and on the eve of the wedding, it began to leak out piece by piece, like a dam cracking under a flood of secrets. Welcome to Judgy Tales, where we tell real stories from Reddit. Dramatic, shocking, and emotional. If you love situations that make you think, judge, and keep your eyes glued to your screen, then you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that's not just about the usual pre-wedding drama, but a series of events that uncover a buried secret, leaving an entire family on the brink of falling apart. My family has always been described by everyone around us as a traditional, warm, and close-knit family. But the truth is not entirely like that. We have many secrets, hidden corners that no one wants to mention. And it is those secrets, intentionally or unintentionally, that have deeply affected the lives of each family member. I am the main character of the story, and my brother, who is about to enter married life, is the center of all attention these days. He is the only one in my family who follows the traditional path. A mature person, has a stable job, and is in love with a girl that everyone loves. He is the pride of his parents and also the only hope for a peaceful future. My parents are people with strict family traditions, placing the values of tradition and family honor above all else. My mother, a strong and determined woman, always tried to keep everything under control. She was the one who was primarily responsible for organizing the wedding, a major event not only for my brother but also for the whole family. I always knew that my mother had high expectations for this day, not just for the wedding, but also for the affirmation of the family's position and prestige in the eyes of everyone. My aunt, the woman the story will revolve around, is my mother's older sister. She has always been a rather mysterious figure in the family. With a cold appearance and straightforward words, she often did not hesitate to express her opinions, even though it made many people uncomfortable. Even so, I always respected her because she also showed concern and protection for her grandchildren. However, there was something that always made me feel uneasy about her, a feeling that could not be clearly explained, as if she was keeping a deep secret that no one was allowed to know. My brother and I have had a close relationship since we were young. We have gone through many challenges together, sharing joys, sorrows, and even stressful moments in our family. However, with the preparation for the wedding, a distance gradually appeared between us. He began to spend more time on planning on the bride and on advice from our parents. I clearly felt the change in him, a maturity but also pressure and tension. There were times when I saw him hesitate, as if he was hiding something, but did not have the courage to say it. Besides, there were other family members, aunts, uncles, cousins, and close friends with whom I grew up. Each of them had their own stories, unspoken conflicts, and events that contributed to the complex picture of our family. Everyday conversations, family meals, and even small gatherings all contain signs, small clues that only the observant can notice. My brother's wedding was not only a celebration of love but also a turning point for the whole family. Everyone had high expectations for this important day, not only to prove success and happiness but also to maintain the family's image in the eyes of society. The careful preparation, the advice, the participation of each member, all aimed at making that day as perfect as possible. But hidden beneath the surface of that perfection were tensions, worries, and secrets waiting to be revealed. I remember very clearly the night before the wedding, when everyone gathered together to prepare and confide. The atmosphere was both nervous and cozy, but also filled with unusual moments of silence. It was at that moment that my aunt accidentally slipped out. A short sentence, but enough to change the entire course of the story. That sentence not only stunned me but also caused a series of reactions, meaningful looks and hesitations from everyone around. From there, everything began to take a completely different turn, making me question everything I had believed and understood about my family. Was my aunt, with all that she showed, intentionally hiding a truth? And why did she choose this moment to slip up? Was this just an unexpected incident, or a sign of a larger crisis? My story is not just about weddings but also about family secrets, about the complexity of relationships between family members, and about how a careless word can change a life. During the wedding planning process, I began to see other sides of my family, the dark sides that I had never noticed or dared to face before. And that is the basis for the story I am about to tell you. A story full of emotions, hidden secrets, and a truth that may make people rethink their families. But in that seemingly happy atmosphere, there was something strange, a heavy feeling that crept in I couldn't explain. My aunt, my mother's older sister, who was already quite unapproachable, seemed to talk less than usual that day. She sat silently in the corner of the living room, her eyes occasionally looking at us in a strange way. At first I thought she was just tired from moving around a lot, but then what happened next changed everything completely. That evening we sat around the dining table to have dinner together before the big day. The meal took place in an unusual silence, with only the sound of glasses and bowls clinking together, the soft footsteps of the waiter, and the occasional whisper of a few relatives. Suddenly, in that quiet space, my aunt accidentally said something that shocked everyone. She blurted out carelessly, "If it weren't for that incident, maybe things would have been different." That sentence was like a bomb exploding in the air. All eyes turned to my aunt, including my mother and brother. Everyone was stunned, not knowing what she was trying to say. The atmosphere became stifling. A few people tried to pull her into a corner to talk privately, but I had already heard the next sentences, words that revealed little by little a secret that had long been hidden in the family. My aunt began to recount an event that happened many years ago, an event that only a few people in the family knew about. According to her, when my mother was young, before marrying my father, she had a complicated relationship with another man. A man that the family never wanted to mention. That relationship created an unpleasant event, a stain, that my mother and the whole family tried to hide to preserve their reputation. My aunt said that if it hadn't happened, my mother's life and the whole family's life would have been very different. I felt my heart sink. My mother had always been someone I respected and trusted completely. But now my aunt's words made me confused and bewildered. I began to ask questions. What was that incident? Why did my mother hide this? And why did my aunt choose this time to reveal it? My mother tried to stay silent, her eyes flashing with worry and sadness. My father said nothing, he just looked down at the table silently, his hands clenched into fists. My brother was equally surprised, but tried to keep his composure so as not to make the situation more tense. The meal continued, but the atmosphere had completely changed. Each person was caught up in their own thoughts, doubts, and complicated emotions. That night I couldn't sleep. I turned the story over and over in my head, trying to figure out the truth behind my aunt's words. I began to recall my childhood memories, my actions, the stories that my mother had told me or had not told me. I thought about all the things that my mother and family had kept secret for so long, and I wondered if I had been deceived either intentionally or unintentionally. The next day before the wedding, everyone kept their normal appearance, but tension was spreading in the air. I decided to meet my aunt to talk frankly. She looked at me with an unreadable gaze, but she did not deny what she had said. She only advised me to be careful with what I knew, because there were secrets that, when exposed, would lead to many unforeseen consequences. The conversation with my aunt made me even more confused and embarrassed. I did not know what to do with the truth that I had just learned. Should I tell my brother and family so that they could prepare themselves? Or keep quiet to avoid disturbing the atmosphere on the big day? But the truth is like a fierce wave, it cannot be suppressed or buried forever. Rumors began to spread, the scrutiny and whispers in the family increased. Some other relatives also began to reveal related secrets, making the story more complicated. The incident that the aunt mentioned was not just a simple love story, but also related to deep conflicts in the family, the pain that many people try to hide. The climax of the story is when my brother found out the truth, right on the wedding day. His reaction surprised everyone. He didn't scream, didn't blame, but his absent-minded eyes and forced smile showed his complicated state of mind. He almost didn't even walk down the aisle, causing the whole family to fall into chaos. My mother burst into tears, apologized to him and everyone, and explained that she had tried to protect the family from harm. My father also tried to reassure everyone, emphasizing that the family was still intact and love was the most important thing. But things didn't easily return to normal like before. From then on, the relationship in the family changed dramatically. Unanswered questions remained, doubts and lingering hurts. I felt like I was stuck between a wall of truth and secrets, not knowing which side to choose, what to do to keep peace on my brother's wedding day. This story is not only a family incident, but also a testament to the fragility of relationships, showing that just one word, one exposed secret can change everything in the blink of an eye. And now, let's move on to the next part of the story, where the main character will have to face and plan to deal with all the challenges and tensions that lie ahead. Right after my aunt blurted out the truth that shocked the whole family, a wave of intense emotions rose in my heart that was hard to contain. Those words were like a time bomb, awakening all the doubts and hidden hurts that I had never dared to face before. The feeling of betrayal, abandonment, and at the same time the pain of realizing that a loved one I had always trusted could hide such a big secret made me dizzy. The family, which was supposed to be a solid support, now turned into a mess of unanswered questions. I stood in the middle of that storm, wondering what I should do, how I should react so as not to make things worse while still maintaining the truth and fairness for everyone. In the first few hours, I chose to stay silent, observe and listen. I clearly saw every look, every expression of each family member when they encountered this bitter truth. My brother, who was about to embark on the most important day of his life, no longer had a bright look in his eyes, but instead was a deep fatigue and sadness. My mother was in a state of confusion, not knowing what to believe anymore, and my aunt seemed to have no regrets about her words, even a hint of torment in her eyes when she saw everything had fallen apart. All of this created a dark, heavy and tense picture. I knew I could not let this situation continue without taking concrete action. If I did not handle it properly, the family would fall apart, my brother would carry those wounds for the rest of his life, and I would live in torment because of my helplessness. But how to face such a painful truth? How to stay calm, to protect my brother and mother, and at the same time help everyone understand that the truth, no matter how harsh, must still be viewed fairly. I started by recording every detail I heard, every action and reaction of each person in the family. I used a small notebook, carefully recording every story, every clue, no matter how small, so that I could look back clearly, avoiding being influenced by emotions. I understood that to find the best solution, I needed to have a complete picture, not just rely on feelings or rumors. This was like my own investigation, not to blame but to find the truth and protect the people I love. The first plan I came up with was to approach my aunt who had revealed the secret. I did not want to confront or cause more conflict. Instead, I chose to talk frankly but gently, hoping that she could honestly share everything. I knew this was the most important step because only when I understood the root of everything could I help my family face the truth accurately. My aunt was reluctant at first, but after a few conversations she began to open up, revealing many hidden corners that no one had known before. Stories about the past, about misunderstandings, old grudges were gradually revealed, making me realize that the truth was not simply a hidden secret but also a pile-up of many emotions, many untold stories. During this time, I also started talking to other relatives, from elders in the family to cousins, who might know or have witnessed something related to this secret. I took detailed notes, comparing the stories to find common points, matching details to consolidate the information. This not only gave me solid evidence but also helped me better understand the complex relationships and potential conflicts between family members. I realized that the story that I thought was simple contained many layers of meaning, pain and hope for healing. After having a fairly complete amount of information, I began to plan to discuss it with my brother and mother. I knew that if I suddenly brought everything to light, it might shock and hurt them more. Therefore, I decided to take it step by step, explaining each detail, each reason and evidence in detail. I need to carefully prepare my words and expressions to convey the truth gently, avoiding causing as much pain as possible. I also predict that, during the conversation, there will be times when my brother and mother cannot control their emotions, maybe anger, sadness, or even depression. But I will always be by their side, serving as a spiritual support to help them overcome those emotions. I also know that in this situation, rumors and false stories will quickly spread within the family and even outside. Therefore, I must try to be a coordinator, controlling the flow of information to avoid causing further division and conflict. I proactively contact each member, discuss frankly, encourage them not to spread unverified stories, and emphasize the importance of unity and understanding while the family is facing this difficulty. If these measures are not enough to stabilize the situation, I am also prepared to suggest seeking outside support, such as a family counselor. I believe that, in times of stress and pain, professional help will help my family find a way to resolve things in a healthy way, building understanding and forgiveness among members. This will not only help us overcome the current crisis but also create the premise for a better future, avoiding leaving lingering wounds. Along with all of the above plans, I also try to maintain my own calm and spirit. I understand that to help my family overcome this difficult period, I have to be steadfast, strong, and wise. I spend a lot of time thinking, learning from similar stories, from the advice of experts, and from my own experiences. I realize that forgiveness and tolerance will be the key to helping us heal. A simple revenge plan would not solve the problem. Instead, I needed to create a journey that would help people realize the value of truth and family. As time passed, difficult conversations gradually helped my family understand each other better. There were times when the tension was so intense that it seemed impossible to continue, but in the end, we still sat together and worked to untangle the knots in our hearts. I saw my brother gradually regain his composure and determination to move on in his new life, while my mother also began to heal the wounds in her heart. My aunt, who had revealed the secret, also expressed remorse and wanted to make amends. All of this created an atmosphere that was both tense and hopeful. I also realized that the revenge plan or initial reaction was just the first step. What was more important was how we learned to face and overcome the crisis. No matter how painful or difficult the truth is to accept, it cannot diminish family affection if we know how to preserve and cherish it. I tell myself that no matter what happens, I will always stand for truth and justice, and be a strong support for my loved ones. When the plan was put into action, I could not have imagined the profound changes it would bring to my entire family and myself. At first, everything seemed peaceful, but in the next few days, a thick veil of secrets and suppressed emotions began to be revealed, making everything more complicated than ever. Those who had kept silent and hidden the truth now had no choice but to face the past and its consequences head-on. My brother, the one I had feared would be hurt the most, actually showed a maturity I had never seen before. At first, he seemed to collapse at the revelation, his eyes filled with sadness and disappointment. But instead of letting himself be drawn into a spiral of anger or depression, he chose to face it and accept it. He knew that life wasn't always fair, but how he responded to those injustices revealed who he truly was. He began to spend more time talking to his mother, understanding things he had never known before. The conversations, though sometimes tense and sometimes conflicting, helped to put the pieces of the family together. My mother also went through a difficult journey. She had to face the truth about hidden secrets, and this made her question many things about herself and her past decisions. Initially, she showed confusion and torment, even feeling betrayed by her loved ones. But through patience and deep love for her children, she gradually found the strength to forgive and reconcile. My mother began to open up more, not only to my brother but also to the rest of the family. She took the initiative to create gatherings, occasions for everyone to talk and resolve long-standing misunderstandings. This change created a new atmosphere, full of hope and warmth that we had previously lacked. My aunt, who had unfortunately revealed the secret, also faced serious consequences. Initially, she was criticized and blamed by many people in the family for her carelessness or perhaps lack of thought. But over time, she also realized her responsibility and showed sincere remorse. She tried to make up for it by sharing everything clearly, helping other members understand more about the context and motives behind those secrets. She also actively participated in family dialogues, hoping to reconcile and rebuild lost trust. Her change made the atmosphere in the family less tense and gradually led to acceptance. However, not everyone accepted and reconciled easily. Some family members remained defensive, even angry and bitter. They felt that letting the truth out was a mistake, and they did not want to continue to face old wounds. This division was one of the biggest challenges we faced after the plan was implemented. It created a clear gap between the generations, between those who wanted change and those who wanted the status quo. I realized that healing was not just a story for my family, but for anyone trying to overcome secrets and pain in life. The good news, however, was that through all these storms, we gradually realized an important truth. No secret can be kept forever if it is not acknowledged and faced. The truth, no matter how harsh, can become a catalyst for change and growth. My family members have learned to let go of old resentments and anger to start rebuilding relationships on a foundation of honesty and love. I also realized that I myself have grown a lot while standing in the middle of that storm, learning to be a bridge, learning to love even though the wounds are still there. The end of the story is not a full stop, but more like an open question mark full of contemplation. My family is not perfect, the wounds can never be completely healed, but we have a new beginning, an opportunity to continue writing new chapters with more understanding and sincerity. I believe that not only me but each person in the family carries within themselves valuable lessons about the power of truth, forgiveness, and love. The story I just shared is not only a tumultuous personal journey, but also a complex picture of family, truth, and the consequences of secrets that have been hidden for too long. And now, I would like to invite you, the person listening to this story, to join me in standing in the position of each character, putting yourself in their situation, then judge, comment, and share your own thoughts. First of all, do you think that the main character, who decided to reveal the truth at a sensitive time before his brother's wedding, did the right or wrong thing? Was it the right time to reveal the family secret? Or was it a selfish act that hurt everyone? How would you feel if you were the person in the story, when everything that seemed to be happy and full of hope suddenly turned completely upside down just because of a word said unintentionally or intentionally? Besides, what do you think about the reaction of the aunt who carelessly revealed the secret? Does she really deserve to be scolded and hated? Or is it just an unintentional mistake that anyone can make in moments of stress? Have you ever encountered a similar situation in your life, when a secret is exposed and makes things more complicated? And more importantly, how would you treat the person who caused the exposure? Not only that, the story also raises a big question about family and love. Is the truth always the best? Or sometimes, keeping secrets, even though painful, is the way to maintain peace and connection? There are times when you think that the truth is too cruel. Is it worth making everyone hurt just to reveal everything? Will you choose to stay silent, accept and forgive, or want everything to be clear, even though the result may break some relationships? And if you were the brother, the one at the center of the wedding day, the one about to embark on a new chapter in his life, how would you react when you hear the shocking news at the last minute? Would you be angry, hurt, or would you seek forgiveness and understanding for those around you? Could his actions be a lesson for us about the power of tolerance and love in the family, or is it evidence of an irreparable breakdown? In addition, I would like to invite you to think about the role of the narrator in this story. Is the person who brings the truth to light a hero or a saboteur? Does that intervention benefit the family, or does it only complicate things? Have you ever felt like you were faced with such difficult choices? What would you do if you were the one who kept the secret or the one who discovered the truth? Moreover, the story raises issues of trust and forgiveness. How can a family overcome such deep wounds? Can people forget the past and rebuild better relationships together? Do you believe that family love is strong enough to heal all wounds? Or are there wounds that are too deep to heal? We cannot ignore the aspect of maturity and personal responsibility. Each person in the story has made mistakes, made imperfect decisions, but also has the opportunity to correct and change. What do you think about daring to face the truth, admitting mistakes and changing yourself? Are you willing to forgive others and yourself when you make mistakes? Have you ever had similar experiences, when things can only be resolved when people are open and honest? At the same time, I also want to hear your stories about family secrets and the unexpected consequences they bring. Have you ever witnessed or experienced situations where the truth was kept hidden for too long, then suddenly exposed and caused a big storm in the family? What emotions do you feel the strongest when facing the truth? Silence or frankness, in your opinion, which is better in maintaining harmony and love? Finally, I would like to ask you, if you were the one listening to this story, what lesson would you draw? What do you sympathize with the most? What makes you wonder or want to refute? How do you think this story can help you reevaluate your family relationships? What would you do if you were in a similar situation one day? I leave all these questions to you, those who are watching, listening, and contemplating with me. Judgment is inevitable in every life story, but what is important is how we perceive and learn from those stories. I look forward to reading your honest and multidimensional thoughts and shares in the comments section below. Let's create a community where everyone's opinions are heard, understood, and respected. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's story on the Judgy Tales channel. If you find this story interesting, touching, or makes you think, don't forget to click the like button to show your support and help the video reach more people. Each like is not only a great encouragement for me, but also helps the Judgy Tales community grow stronger every day. In addition, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe now so you don't miss any shocking, dramatic stories in the future. Our channel always updates new videos every week with everyday situations but full of drama, controversial stories that make you think and feel overwhelmed. Subscribing will help you become a part of the community of people who love these true, touching, and colorful stories. To make sure you don't miss a new video as soon as it is posted, turn on the notification bell next to the subscribe button. With just one click, you will always be the first to see interesting stories and share your opinions in the comments section. And don't forget, Judgy Tales is more than just a storytelling place. This is a community of people who love to judge, debate, and share their true feelings. Leave a comment below, let me know what you think of today's story, or tell me about your similar experiences. Every opinion is appreciated and is the motivation for me to continue bringing you the best quality stories. Thank you very much for accompanying Judgy Tales. See you in the next video.